Like you talk to anybody who gets to this point in their career and they will tell you that all of those things are sometimes so intangible and they're working all together in some big swirl. And like you can't always tell like tit for tat, this is causing my sales, right? It's like
Right.
you've got your social media happening, you've got your ads happening, you've got your Amazon and your Meta, you've got your YouTube, and all of them somehow just like work together to equal a tipping point.
Welcome, lucky listeners. Grab yourselves a hot cup of... It's time for Read Me a Nightmare.
Hi, everyone. I'm here today with one of my favorite authors, Cindy Gunderson, somebody whose career I would love to emulate. So I thought we could sit down with her today for a chat.
I am so happy to be here. When was it that we met? It was 2 years ago, but we didn't really chat until last year, right?
That's right. That's right. We
Yeah.
kind of just passed in the hall. And then last year, I mean, I was so overwhelmed at the first Superstars that, by the time the second one came, you start
Yeah.
to find your people, you start to figure out kind of where you're going.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
I
That is
just
so true.
Sorry, and it's your energy. I just love your energy. It's like you don't know how gorgeous you are, and and it's like you have like no attitude about your success, and that's just so
Oh my
rare.
gosh, you are so sweet. I'll come talk to you anytime. My goodness. That is really sweet. I think honestly, like when you come into the author world, um, as an underdog, I guess, right? Like just not really knowing what you're doing, feeling like there's just so much to learn. I still feel that way. Even though I have seen some success, I still feel that way, that there's like so much to learn. There's so many people that I look up to that are incredible mentors. So yeah, it's like I don't feel any different than when I started, even though I am like actually doing it, right? Like
Yeah,
I'm
it's like
doing it
you're an
now. Yeah.
instructor and you're a full-time
Yeah.
author, and you've kind of found your own niche and
Yeah.
that's all right. Like you support yourself writing.
Totally. Yep. Yep. I mean, I am lucky because my husband, we have a dual income household, right? And so I try to tell people that often because I'm like, it's not like I was a single mom doing this all on my own. I think I was able to take a lot of risks because my husband had a stable situation. And I think there are a lot of authors who like can't be as risky. They can't take as, big of jumps, I guess, because they have to make sure that they're making the amount of money that they need. And I definitely wouldn't have been able to go full time as quickly as I did. Um,
Right, right.
right? So there's that too. It's like I know that I have these things in my life that have made it easier for me to be successful in this way. So,
That's actually a common story when you start to really dig, because obviously, as I've been on this path of, ooh, I'd really like to be a
yeah.
full-time author. And then, the more you talk to people, you do find out that you do, because it's too risky. You could even have
Yes,
one successful book and then the next one,
that's exactly
might not
right.
even sell or,
Yeah, like I think it took me until I had 12 books out until I was like even making like some money. And then it took until I was making till I had over 40 out to the point that I was making six figures. Do you know what I mean? So it's
yes.
like that's a long haul. And for somebody who is needing to pay for their family like today, that's maybe going to take you a lot longer to get there than somebody who can take the risk and go without income for 4 years. Do you know what I mean? To be able to make it
Yes,
happen. So,
absolutely. I hear that. I mean, or they're
yep.
sort of forced. I'm kind of in this situation where I've been kind of forced. I'm lucky
Yes.
my husband has a good job. I mean, the fact that
Yes.
I lost my super fun, amazing job, and then,
Yep.
you know, the,
Yep.
and then the job market, as we all know, is kind of weird. I mean, I can get work, but then, I did get the
Yeah.
dream part. I don't know if you read my Substack. I did get
Yes.
the job.
Yeah.
That was
Right.
the future. And then I'm like, oh my God, I'm so miserable.
Yeah. Isn't that
People
so
around me.
amazing?
And
Yeah.
then people are miserable around me, and I'm like, they don't look healthy. This isn't
Yeah.
any fun. I'm
Yeah.
not
This
going to
isn't what I
die here
want.
at this desk.
Mhm. That's exactly right. Well, and I think that's the exact point is that like we can look at other things and think that it's just going to be the perfect situation or exactly what we want. And we don't actually know until we get there and until we try it out. And it's so easy to compare with other people and be like, well, if I had what they had then, right?
I'd be
And
happy.
and
Yeah,
that's not how it works.
it
So,
isn't. And I'm
yeah.
sorry, writing full time is kind of shitty.
Yeah.
If you really think about it, it's
Hmm.
really hard work with very little breaks, because that's what I'm doing now. I'm just here in
Yep.
Arizona and I'm
Yep.
doubling down. I'm finishing the second novel, and
Yep.
it's bringing, you have to put your ass in the chair. You
Yep.
have to type, type, type. You can
Yep.
get distracted. It's not even like you're going to get a paycheck.
Yep, that's exactly right. And like you said, it's risky. And sometimes it's hard to keep up your motivation when you're the one having to like carry all the mental load for all of that all
Yeah.
the time. And so yeah, I think there are things I actually really liked. I saw somebody one of my author friends had posted the other day about somebody, advice for somebody who had just gone full time. And they were like, "Hey, just so you know, like I know you've looked forward to this for so long, but just understand that your productivity might actually go down. And there might be some things that you have to struggle through initially before you can get to the point that you thought you would be at day one, right?" And I thought that was just the best advice because, yeah, you have to figure out your systems for being successful using your personality and your set of restrictions in your life. And that is like a job in and of itself. So.
It absolutely is. So tell me, so what was your like, what's your routine? What was your like, how did you find your path?
Oh man, that's such a great question because I feel like I'm still figuring it out. Like I said, I mean it's well and two, I think the variables in your life are constantly changing. So, maybe one year my kids have this schedule and my husband has this schedule and so this works really well for me and then all of a sudden everything changes and then I'm back to square one where I'm like that doesn't work for me anymore. Like how am I gonna well and also just learning like how you work best. I mean, I've been doing this for 5 years now. And I still am not totally sure what set of variables is best for me. Whether it's better for me to write first thing in the morning or whether I actually like writing better at night. Like, and it changes for me all the time. So I have adopted this idea of just like curiosity. And
Okay.
my favorite phrase to say to myself is I don't have to do it forever. So anything that I start or any new pattern that I put in place, I just say I don't have to do it forever. So if I try this for a week and I hate it, that's okay because that gave me information and then I can try something different. So right now, the schedule that I have is my husband has a little bit more flexibility in the mornings and on a couple of weekdays right now. And I really wanted to be able to take advantage of like, we love to play pickleball together. We love to go on like day dates or go for lunch or whatever. So I kind of stack my work heavier on the days that he's working full time, and then my kids have Mondays off from school. They have a 4 day a week school right now, my high schoolers, and so I stack it lighter on Mondays when they're home, and I stack it lighter on the days when he's available. And I'm trying that out to see if
Right.
I can really embrace that time when they're home and not have to tell them like, well, I have to work all day. And so far, so far it's felt really amazing in my life because, I love just being able to accomplish a lot on those days and then have free time. I don't know if I'm quite as productive doing it that way. So I'm next week I'm going to kind of go back to the drawing board and be like, okay, what could I implement to make sure that I'm meeting these like goals for myself that I have for myself because there were some that I didn't meet this month. So
So what are your productivity goals out of curiosity?
yeah, well, over the last year, I mean, and this is one of the things that happens when you start to grow is that what got you to this level of success is not what's going to get you to this level of success. You have to like figure out new skills and new systems to be able to move to the next level. And so, what I'm doing right or what I did to get to six figures is great, but that maxed out what I was capable of doing on my own. And so now I have two employees and we're working together and like one of the actually both of them are wanting to go up to full time like they've been maybe like 15 hours a week for me for the last almost year like 9 months and so we just had a meeting this week of like okay what is this going to look like how are we going to do this because I'm ready to take that risk like I'm ready to bring you in full time and have you doing all this stuff so I have a
But
lot of
what are
goals
they
in
doing for you? Sorry, what are they
Oh
doing for
yeah.
you?
Yeah.
Curiosity.
So I have two assistants. I have one that's international who I met last summer when I was on a trip over in Asia and she's just incredible and so met her and she's working doing some stuff for me but her stuff is a little bit limited because you can't log into some websites when you're in Asia and have it
Mm.
work well.
Right, right.
So
Okay.
so I have her doing a lot of stuff with like audio editing and content creation and just like things like that she can do from where she's at. My other assistant is doing like book formatting. She does a whole bunch. She does content creation too. Um, Tons of tasks like submitting for promos and just all of the administrative stuff that comes along with being an author. I'm moving her into actual like book maintenance and sales page maintenance. She runs a lot of my Shopify store, so things like that.
Oh, wow.
She's going to be working with my YouTube channel and all these things. So yeah, so they do a lot of the like extra stuff that allows me to spend more time writing. And that's been a journey learning how to do that. So learning how to delegate, what things I wanted to keep. So I have a lot of goals on that side of things, just like, making sure that I am like keeping their work updated and making sure that I have enough training for them. Like the last year I was really working on my standard operational procedures, making sure that everything is organized so they can find what they need. So I have goals regarding that. I have a lot of goals regarding like I run my own ads. And so, content creation there or research or being able to analyze my ads better and make better decisions there in terms of scaling. And then I have the author side, the writing side. And so right now I'm finishing a book that's going to release hopefully in the next couple of days. I'm just finishing up edits and stuff on that. So,
Wow.
so it's like all those areas, right? And you have to juggle all of those things of like, and there are some things that my brain is happier to do because they're easier.
I know all about that.
Yeah.
So here's
Yeah.
something. So did I hear you right? It took you 5 years to get to six figures. Did I hear that right?
It took me almost four. Yep, it took me
Oh
almost 4 years.
my God. And six figures, is that like gross or net?
Gross. Yep.
Gross.
Gross. So my net, depends on the year, depending on how much I spend on ads. And for the first year that I hit six figures, I didn't spend very much on ads at all because I was mostly doing social media. But that has changed significantly over the last like 6 to 8 months. Like the whole TikTok boom kind of has slowed down a little bit. There's just a lot of changes happening with all of those platforms. And so I felt like this year I had to get a lot more into the paid ad side of things.
Right.
But my income's also gone up significantly. So it's like, you know, we'll see how it all shakes out.
Oh wow, that's amazing. Because I know you did that whole, I love your like ads that you had. I see them on LinkedIn. I don't know. I just cannot get into TikTok. I've tried a few times. I just,
Totally get it. Yep, totally get it.
but I love your LinkedIn when you like do your like pondering ones, when you do like your storylines and you're saying,
Yes, those are fun. Well, because for content creation, this is kind of how I approach my business in general is like, what are the things that are sustainable and scalable? And so if I can find a content creation that I can make like so many of them because it's just a similar thing, then I kind of lean into that, right? And so that's something where now that I have 40 books, I mean, if I have 5 to 6 like story hooks for every single one of those books, that's a crap ton of content,
yes,
right?
it is.
So
Do
so
they
we can.
work?
Oh
Do
yeah, it's great. Yeah,
so
it's great. Like,
they drive sales, those little
mhm.
videos.
Yep, they totally do. But like I said, I mean, on TikTok, they were driving a lot more sales last year than they were this year. And so then I had to figure out how to shift my strategy into more like paid advertising. So now my strategy, it used to be that like my social media was fully my sales strategy, right? And now it's more that like my social media is about like connection and reader retention, super fan strategy.
Mhm.
And honestly, it fills my bucket to be able to connect with readers right there on those platforms. Like YouTube is one of my favorite places to hang out. So now that's fueling something different for me. And it does equal sales, but that's not the purpose of it anymore.
Right.
And the paid advertising is more the like straight up sales strategy. But like you talk to anybody who gets to this point in their career, and they will tell you that all of those things are sometimes so intangible and they're working all together in some big swirl. And like you can't always tell, like tit for tat, this is causing my sales, right? It's like
Right.
you've got your social media happening, you've got your ads happening, you've got your Amazon and your Meta, you've got your YouTube, and all of them somehow just like work together to equal a tipping point. And as soon as I accepted that and stopped trying to be so methodical about like, well, I have to, maximize this, ROI or whatever, like as soon as I stopped worrying so much about that and just let it kind of
Well, that's
work
great
together,
advice.
yeah, that's
So,
when that's when it worked.
so paid advertising, that means like paying for Facebook ads, Amazon ads,
Yep.
BookBubs, like what
I
are,
only do those right now. I've done so, and I also do a lot of like promos, which are not paid, right? But I give a discount. So, like a lot of like chirp promos or, Barnes and Noble. I've done BookBub deals. Like those have been okay for me. They haven't been as amazing as some other people. So I think it's probably genre specific, book specific. I've had a couple that have done really well, but I don't really submit for those anymore. Just because
Interesting.
they're very expensive. And I've found a lot of other things that are less expensive that give me more benefit.
Right, no
Um,
brainer.
yeah. And so, well, and also I just have found BookBub deals like really stressful.
Okay, that's
Because
fair.
I'm like, wait, I have to make sure that this is discounted on the right day, and Amazon doesn't always let you discount it in all these different places. Do you know what I mean? So it was just
Yes.
like causing stress, and it wasn't as beneficial as some other things. And I know some other authors would disagree with me on that, but that's been my experience. So I tend to go mostly on the audio side because I feel like that is a big part of my business that makes me unique. And
Right.
so having like the chirp deals and the YouTube channel and like all of those discounts that I can offer on audio has been really, really good for me.
Oh, that's interesting.
Hmm.
So, where would you say most of your sales happen from? Is it your Amazon platform? Like, are you in KU or like how?
Yeah. So, well, that was one of the changes I made when social media was like not, going as well as it had been in the past for sales because I was doing just direct sales and I wasn't in KU. I was wide. I was doing, like draft to digital distribution for some of those other wide platforms. And after talking to some people that had been doing the same thing as me, they were all like, we're going to try going back in KU because we're not seeing as much movement as we have in the past. And I was like, yeah, me too. And so I put my stuff back in KU, and that was a huge boon. Like
Oh, wow.
it was really great. So I'm like, okay, we're just going to ride this wave. So I do have my stuff in KU, but my audio is wide. So I have my audio everywhere. And I would
Okay.
say, yeah. So like I would say on any given month, like it used to be that my audio was over half of my sales by far. And now because of the KU and because of the paid advertising, I think when I last looked at my numbers, like audio was still like 30% of my income, but it wasn't as high as it was. And now I'm getting way more KU stuff.
So, what?
So
So, your audio, what platforms are you on for audio? Like, are they usually direct
everywhere.
to consumer or so you're like Audible and
Yep. Yep, exactly. I'm like Audible, Chirp, Nook, Kobo, audiobooks.com. I mean, just everywhere you can think of, and then also free on YouTube.
oh, and then free, but it does the free doesn't fight the paid?
Not in my experience. So my experience has been, as I've tested all of these things, is that YouTube has only increased my sales everywhere else.
Oh my God.
So yeah, I think they're different audiences personally. Like the people who are on YouTube are not the people who are paying for Audible subscriptions. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like giving you access to a new, and same with Spotify, people on Spotify Premium. So yeah, for me, it's
How
been like
counterintuitive is that?
yeah. Yeah. But that's what I've seen. It's like people find your stuff there, and the people on YouTube are amazing because, you hear about all of these like troll stories of like, well, I don't want to be on social media because people are so mean. And I'm like, yeah, that does happen sometimes, but when people are getting free audiobooks on your channel, they're like freaking so happy, right? So they come on there and they're just like, I love you so much. Like, I'm gonna buy all your books for my mom. And they do. They go and they review my
Oh,
books on Amazon, they purchase paperbacks, like they end up buying my audiobooks on my website or whatever. So like I think it's been fantastic and a big reason why my income boosted.
okay. So you also go in multiple genres. So I know you've got your
Yeah.
like romance, and it's kind of like sports romance, and you've got like your sweet holiday romance, and then you got your
Yep.
sci-fi, and then you got a kind of a kid line, right?
Yep. I'm like figuring out who I am.
I love
That's
it.
really what it is. Everyone told me, well, when I first started, I didn't really know any authors and I didn't know anybody in the business. So I had no idea what I was doing. And I just was like, I want to write this book. I want to write this book. So I started in dystopian and then I did some women's fiction and then I did some sweet romance because I was like, well, maybe this is who I am as an author. Um, and then I went to my first conference and they were like, what are you doing? Like, that's the worst strategy in the world. And I'm like, oh. I didn't know I was supposed to have a strategy. I just was like creating stories, right?
Yeah.
And but I did want to make it into a business. And so that's when I kind of sat down and I'm like, okay, I need to commit to like one series or like something that I can try and make this work. And so I did. But what I discovered was that I really like variety and I can't write in all fantasy, and not start to hate my life. And so,
Fair
um,
enough.
yeah, so that's why I write in a bunch of different things. But I'll tell you, like, it wasn't the fastest path because I think if I would have started in just hockey romance, for example, I probably would have made a lot more money a lot faster. But now I am pretty bulletproof in terms of fluctuations. So, like,
Right.
some people will say, oh man, like, this was my worst month ever. And I'm like, I don't ever have that. Like, my income is always consistent at this point because if my holiday romance is going crazy in December when my fantasy is down, I make the same amount of money, right? Or in
Right.
January, if all of a sudden my holiday romance isn't selling, but then I've got my hockey romance that's going crazy or whatever. So they sell differently all year long, but having the different genres has actually been fantastic
Look at
because,
that.
yeah.
So
So,
your path works. What do
yep.
you like writing the most? Or is that like asking you which kid you love the most?
Yeah, it depends. It depends on the month. I'm like, what mood am I in, right? And I absolutely love writing rom-com. Like, there's not a time of the year where I'm not happy to write a rom-com. I just think they're so fun, and I've felt more free as I've written more books to just be silly and like not try to make it perfect. And so that
Right.
has been so much more fun for me. That's actually why I started a paranormal pen name as well because I was getting so locked in and trying to make my craft better and like trying to do it right. And I was like, what if I just wrote something completely like unhinged that like had no literary value and it was just like really fluffy and fun? What if I just did that for like a brain break? And that's like my best-selling series.
Oh, wow. What series is that?
It's so my pen name for that is Luna M. Rose,
Oh,
and it's
beautiful.
called the Shadow Pack series. And it's just like silly and fun. I didn't know if it would work because most shifter romance is really smutty, and mine is not. It is open door for that like connection, but it's not like there's nothing explicit in it. That's like what I felt comfortable writing. So I'm like, I don't know if people are even gonna like this. They might be so disappointed that it's not like a smutty shifter romance. But no, it does great. Like not as great as some of those other ones, but it does really great. So
Oh, isn't
yeah,
that something? And then do you just market it the same way you market all your other things? Just your little
yeah,
videos and your,
yeah,
do
totally.
people know it's you? Like, has your pet?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, like initially I didn't really like it was a new pen name launch and everybody will tell you like, "Oh, starting a new pen name, that's going to be so much work. You have to do like a new website and a new newsletter and all these things." And I'm like, "What if I don't? What if this is just a KU pen name?" And I just put it up on KU and just see what happens. So I don't run anything for that pen name. Like it's just on KU. I run some ads to it. I have an Instagram for it, but I'm not even really doing much with that anymore because it was more work than it was worth. And it's on my website and it's on my YouTube channel, and people know that it's me. And I have a lot of readers that read everything that I write, and there are some that only want shifters and some who
Wow.
only want rom-com. But
You're
yeah,
whale
it's like,
readers. Look at that.
yeah,
You have the whale readers. Wonderful.
right. Yeah, but it's like, why are we making this more complicated than it needs to be? Like, what if we just try something
I
and see
love
if it
that
works?
philosophy. What would this look like if it was simple? I keep trying
Yeah.
to remind myself of that. Like, what would
Yep.
this look like if this was simple? Which
Yep.
is why this podcast is called Read Me a Nightmare, even though there's going to be no nightmare in this, but
Exactly.
it
No,
already
I
exists.
love it.
I don't want to.
That's like, have you read the book Essentialism by Greg McKeown? I don't know if you've
No.
read it. Okay. So he talks about that in the book. Like, what would this look like if it were easy? And I love that book so much. I refer to it often because I think so often we want to say yes to everything and we want to do things the way other people have said it's going to work. And I get it. I did that too. I tried all the things because I didn't know what I was doing. But at a certain point, we have to start trusting ourselves and we have to start making choices that maybe don't make sense to other people because that's what's going to work for us. And then if it doesn't work, that's okay. You just try something new. Like I don't have to do this forever,
Right?
right?
Another good, what would this look like if this
Yep.
is simple and I don't have to do this forever? I mean, just
Yep.
having those two mottos, I think
Yes. Right. If it's not working, and I say, like for me, whenever I try something new, I commit to it for at least 6 months because I feel like
that's interesting.
most things take that long to be able to see if they're working or not. You can't just do like paid ads for a month and be like, oh, my books don't sell, right? or like a direct sales website or whatever. Like it takes time to build those things. I think it took me a year for my YouTube channel to get monetized and to get off the ground. But then the growth after that point was like exponential. So I think whenever you try something new, give it enough time. And for me, I choose one or two new things at a time. I don't say, well, I'm going to do, direct sales and wide audio and a YouTube channel and, just whatever else all at once. I'm like, let's try just two of these things that I'm most excited about and see what happens over the next 6 months. And if it's not working for my life or working for my sales, then I'll choose something else.
It's interesting that you do all your own reading, right? Because you're also an audio actor.
Yeah.
So that probably makes that whole YouTube channel thing work better because you're actually, I was listening to some of your stuff. You're good at it, which
Well, thank
helps,
you.
right?
Yeah. Well, that's why I say like, for other authors, they might not lean into the audio side of things and they might say like it wasn't great for them. But for me, like that is my biggest connection with my readers. I'm reading them stories every night. And
Right.
so it's so cool to be able to connect with them and to take their feedback and to see what they love and what they don't love. And I just think that's kind of the most joyful part of this job. So.
So let's talk about why you decided to go indie versus trad. And have you even done any
Yeah.
trads or?
Yeah. So like initially when I first wrote my first trilogy, well, I'd written the first book. And of course, like as a new writer, I think the desire to be validated is like so huge, right? Because you're so not confident in what you're doing. At least I wasn't. And I wanted so badly for someone to tell me, like, you're good at this, your writing is great, somebody who knew what they were doing. And so I did submit. I submitted to some literary agents. I heard back from one. Well, I heard back from a lot that were rejections, right? But then I heard back from one, and she was so amazing. Like, I think she was just an intern at one of these literary agencies, but she wrote back and she was like, okay, I love your story. Like, I love these characters. I think there's something here, but we're not really taking on authors that need workshopping right now because, like, your writing isn't really up to par, which is totally true. Um, and so do you think that, you could kind of workshop this and then resubmit? And I was like, yeah, absolutely. And so I went through, I took her advice. She gave me like some really specific advice that helped me make that manuscript so much better. And then by the time I resubmitted, they just weren't looking for that genre or something, it just like didn't work
Happen,
out.
right?
But I will forever be grateful for that response because she gave me some actionable advice and gave me that little boost of confidence that like I could do this, that I had something here, that this was a good story. So I ended up joining the group 20 books to 50K and started reading through all those documents and like participating in some of the chats and asking questions. And that's when I was like, okay, maybe I'm not quite ready to do trad. Like maybe I still need some more experience writing and but that's okay because I can still publish this and I can still share it. And I think the way that I'm going to learn is by putting it out there. And so that's what I did. I just started putting books out there and kind of wrote all over the place. And then I did end up submitting a series to LMBPN. So they're, if you're familiar with them, they are a publishing house, but not, one of the big five. But I did two series with them and I learned so much with them because they ended up picking that up and learning from their editors and learning the whole process and like working with deadlines, which I really hadn't had to do before, so there were all those things that I learned. But through that experience and then also doing my rom-coms on my own, I just realized I actually love the business side of it. And I was making more with my indie stuff. And then when I went viral on TikTok a couple of times for one of my series and it just started like clicking and I
Uh,
was making a lot on that hockey romance series. So I'm like, I think this is what I want to do. I think I want to do it indie. And at this point, now that I've built a big platform, like I don't know that there's much more that trad could offer me. I mean, I have talked to some people who are like they are still the best at print, right? So like print deals, getting you into bookstores, like that is still what trad is like excellent at. So, if I had the opportunity to do something like that, then I would probably consider it, but other than that, no, I'm all indie all the way. I love having control over it and making, fast decisions and jumping on trends and like you're not a big ship. It doesn't take long to to turn,
Oh, I
right?
love that. That's another great analogy.
Yeah.
Okay, so I wanted to ask you also about what about like IP for film and movies and like can that happen in the indie world or do you have any of that
Yeah.
happening?
I have quite a few friends who have done that, who have, as indie authors, have optioned their stuff for film, and some of them that have come to fruition, and they've made movies. So if, based on what I know about that process, if that were to be something that I was interested in, I would get an agent for that. So I
Okay.
would work through an agent to be able to make sure that those contracts were good and we got what we wanted and everything. But I wouldn't pick up an agent until, that became something that I wanted to do.
Cindy, thank you for your time today. Can you tell all my followers where they can find you?
Absolutely. So you can find me at Cindy G Writes on Instagram, at Cynthia G Writes on TikTok, and my YouTube channel is Cindy Gunderson. I also have a Substack. If you just search like Substack Cindy Gunderson, you'll find it. And that's where I tell a lot of just stories and I give chapters and books earlier than they publish. So you can find me at all those places.
All right, because this will also be a Substack post. I will make you a guest author.
Hey, that would be
Totally.
amazing. I don't think I've done that before.
We can learn from each other.
Perfect.